El Salvador has a very special citizenship by investment program, and I think it's on a category on its own. It's completely different from the other citizenship by investment programs and citizenship options in other countries. Basically, the program was launched in December 2023. Bukele announced it on Twitter, and it was right after or short after the country adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. And they decided to create this program in partnership with Tether to attract foreign investors that were aligned with the values of El Salvador, specifically when it comes to Bitcoin adoption. And they offer this program, this route to citizenship, where investors can basically get a passport in El Salvador in exchange of a $1 million donation that can be done in Bitcoin or in USDT. The most special part about this program is that El Salvador as a country is accepting Bitcoin directly from the new citizens. And I have talked about this a lot on X. I also wrote about it on Forbes, because basically I think it creates a new way for countries to finance themselves directly from citizens instead of from the IMF, and without depending from third-party institutions like banks that in the end they have counterparties and they depend on geopolitical powers, or if the settlement currency is the USD, they depend on the US. By using Bitcoin to help citizens invest in the country, it's just a direct relationship between the country and the new citizens, and this allows the country to basically build their sovereign treasury, their Bitcoin strategic reserve, and fundraise directly from the new citizens. El Salvador passport is also pretty strong. I would say it's on par with most Caribbean citizenship options. It gives you access, for example, to places like Spain, where as a El Salvador citizen, you can also naturalize pretty fast. So I would say when it comes to international travel, is a pretty solid option. Of course, it's not as strong as European passports, that you could argue that they are part of the declining world as a European citizen, but in the end, they still have the most visa-free access among all passports in the world globally. But I would say that as a second passport option, it's a very solid option, and you will be able to travel most of the world, most of Central and South America, and also Europe. Even though most passport rankings, El Salvador is a bit lower than Caribbean countries, in the end, what all these passport rankings are measuring is just the plain number of visa-free destinations. And I think that's not a comprehensive measure to measure the power of a passport. In the end, even though if El Salvador has 10, 20 fewer visa-free destinations than a passport like St. Kitts and Nevis, you also have to take into account other factors, like some people see this passport as a way of investing in El Salvador and as a way of being part of the long-term trajectory of the country and of the project that Bukele is trying to build in El Salvador as the first Bitcoin nation. I think this program is a great way for people who want to be part of El Salvador and they are willing to make such a big investment to have a direct route to citizenship. There are other ways to get citizenship in El Salvador, especially, for example, you are a Spanish citizen, you even have an accelerated route to citizenship in El Salvador via getting residency and then naturalizing. But I think for a very specific subset of Bitcoin early investors, for example, that now they want to also invest early in El Salvador, it's a great program. It's a great way to become a citizen of El Salvador and become part of the country. At the same way, we have to recognize that for someone who is making this citizenship investment as a way of diversifying their passport portfolio, looking at the citizenship market and at the options available, it might not be the best fit in terms of value that you're getting and how much it's costing you. But if you are really, like I said, for example, a Bitcoin early investor and you have a good capital to deploy, maybe this is the right program for you, because you are also becoming part of a country that is aligned with your values and the way you see the world. Right now, El Salvador has the fastest citizenship by investment program in the world. They promise a processing time of up to 6 weeks. And this is such a massive improvement from what we see in other places, like in most Caribbean countries where the government promises 3 to 4 months of processing time. But the reality is that it's something between 6 to 12 months, even in some cases with governments that have massive backlogs and they are very inefficient, even up to 20 months. So offering a processing time of 6 weeks, I think it's such a massive difference. And that is also because of the way the program operates. Instead of being based on PDFs and bureaucracy and government inefficiency, they have partnered with Tether to make a really lean program. And that allows them to basically be the fastest program out there. Also, the program is limited to 1,000 investors. They will only issue 1,000 citizenships under this model. But what is also important to recognize is that probably they don't have such a high volume since the price is quite high for the citizenship market. So it is also kind of easier for them to be able to process fast and to put more attention to each one of the new investors. When it comes to the process in El Salvador, they basically require an initial government fee of $999, I believe. And then you start the due diligence process. And once you are approved, you can make the rest of the donation either in Bitcoin or in USDT. The only route available right now under El Salvador Citizenship by Investment, the Freedom Passport program, as they call it, is a $1 million donation that you can make either directly in Bitcoin or in USDT, that there's a stable coin. And that is the only route right now. My hopes for the future of the program is that they launch new routes to invest in different assets in El Salvador, either government bonds through the Volcano Bonds program that I know they're working on, or different types of investments like private investments as we see in other countries, or any other kinds of assets, because I think the potential that this program has is massive.